Even after using Charters for so long, I got her from last summer banner to like now. She's Bond 10 now. I'm still preferring Zenobia. And I know it's not fair. It was MP1 Jarcher. But my issue wasn't her MP damage, although the MP damage would have helped. Would have helped the issue a bit. But the solution, the solution shouldn't be lol, this damage hits noodle damage, just roll more copies forehead. That shouldn't be the answer for a 5-star. Like, your damage shouldn't be that low on base that people are thinking you need this because you're not gonna do damage otherwise. Quick, like, and I'm gonna bring up Charlemagne. I do think you would want more copies for Charlemagne just because it makes his looping, it will actually greatly affect his looping because of how many hits you have. But for Zenobia, she doesn't need the extra copies because a lot of her damage is going to come from her face cards. Archer has shit face cards. It literally pisses me off every time I try to face card with Archer because I know she's not going to kill. I know it as a fact. Zenobia, when I pop her, when I know she's going to crit, she is probably going to kill whoever I'm sending her way. More likely than not, she's going to kill him. So let's get started on redoing one of my first videos talking about Zenobia. And real quick, I have to bring this up. Zenobia's base attack is very high for a 4-star. In fact, it is so high that at level 100, her direct comparison, Darcher, has lower base attack. Yes. She outscales a 5-star that is infamous for her arts farming on raw attack. It is part of the reason I like her, because even getting her to 90 would mean that her attack would be higher. Because if she's 400 attack higher at level 100, there's no way she's like could be less. There's no possible way she could have less attack at level 90. It just wouldn't make sense. HP, it's not something to really think about. Like, and when I get to her Bonsi, if they do make a good change to them, like you're able to equip more than one at a time, cost for it goes down, you're gonna actually want the guts to proc, because like as a crit, like for challenge quest reasons, you'd actually want the guts to be procking and maybe giving her a couple more than just her own. Star weight, star gen, these are normal archer numbers. MP charge 0.47. We've learned through Summer Ibuki, through Summer Melisson, that just having a low base MP gain doesn't mean your refund is going to be bad. Her kit is very well balanced to facilitate everything she needs. She's able to do black rail looping, and she's also able to hit really, really hard. Hit counts, again, like I said, they're balanced around this MP gain. Really would have liked Quick Card having more hits. It would have meant she gens more stars. But I mean, like, she already gets 10 per turn and she front loads it. If you really need stars that much, 2030 is an option. You just run it on Castoria and then you're pretty much set. Or Tomo, either one. It really doesn't matter. But at that point, you're pretty much guaranteed that Zenobia, if she has stars, she will crit. And yeah. I will break, like, and skipping to extra attack now, because like the extra attack will clean up these two lacking base stats, but it will hit very hard because of how high her base attack is. And the more you grail it, the more damage her extra attack will hit. Can't really do much about the refund and the star gen, but honestly, on the extra attack, I'd be way more concerned about star gen than arts refund, because like I said, she is more likely to crit on these arts cards. If your chain has an arts crit, you're probably refunding you're probably getting back to your MP more likely than not. All right, first skill, and I'll be honest, it is too long. I don't think this should be a 7 turn, but this is multiple DEs. Like this is literally 2 Prisma Cosmos on a skill, and this is Fragments of 2030, and then they also slap 30% arts up. Now granted, these are for 3 turns, and for looping you're not even going to notice, or you don't get anything out of this part on turn 1, but for turn 2 and 3 it gives her a nice good floor that is raised from all other arts loopers in our category, because no matter how many enemies she's fighting, no matter how many hits of overkill, no matter how many enemies she kills, she will always get at least 20% gauge per turn. It also means that if you need to maybe not loop a turn but crit, and maybe you don't fully refund, this is brought like 40% gauge along with a full turn of like base cards. As long, like, you should come back, you should be able to come back, and that's also assuming like the worst scenario, that like you looped and you literally got nothing back. That's not how arts looping works. That's how quick looping works, or buster farming, buster reloading, however you want to say it. Next skill, guts, 1 time 3 turns, something I brought up earlier. And again, some really cool things if you're able to like use her bouncy and give her this guts, like give her guts like multiple times. At least I'm pretty sure it works the way I think it does. Star weight for 3 turns at 500%. Does she need this? No. Is it nice to have? Yeah, it's nice to make sure your archers are getting all the stars, because you know the archer class is really made of archers. They can use all the help they can get. They need all that aim assist. Also, 20 stars is very nice. It lets her crit when she needs to crit. Is she flooding the field with stars like Jarcher? No. Like Jarcher, like by her design, makes it so her supports are critting on their arts card, thus they're refunding more. That is not Zenobia. She is very selfish about the base cards. Like, you can, leading up to the final turn, like you can do art spam, but like when, like you can't have the last turn of a node be double Castoria pop and Zenobia. You need to pop your Castoria MPs before the 3rd turn, because like part of Zenobia's charm is critting. You are supposed to pop this on turn 3 to make sure you crit. All the Zenobia cards you have, you crit on them. You can't just rely on this. You cannot just rely on this for an art servant to be able to have consistent crits. So do not pop this turn 1, otherwise you will be hurting on wave 3. 2 RNG. 3rd skill, 20% attack and party crit attack chance resistance. I can't tell how good this feels. It feels so good when you're fighting an assassin. They hit you 5 times in 1 attack, and it just says crit miss, and they hit you for baby damage instead of like taking away a chunk of your HP. It feels really good. If the enemy is like strong against you too, it's gonna stop you from getting like literally 1 shot, aka any berserker. They get crit, they're dead. This like stops you from getting crit at a healthy 30%. Like 10% is like, I believe, around the equivalent to like 10% crit down. So this is like really, really solid, and is not a debuff. It is a buff for your party. Passive skills, 12.5 magic resist, 8% crit damage, and 8% quick up. All her pens are a good option. Speaking of someone that fucked up via pens and did this on main, get this and maybe this. It, like, after you get mana loading, it really is up to you, but also remember, like, servant coins are going to be a massive issue. Like such a massive issue. Hopefully evocation leaves, if you build up enough, like you can convert them into like a certain servant's coins, like a particular. that would help out a lot. It would help out so much. MP. He gets 10% attack for 1 turn, activates first. This is just a little cherry on top. It makes it so her, like, they split up the charisma, and they just put this part here. It will always work instead of like giving the entire party 30, which I get. Super effective against king enemies. Oh. So there is a lot of sabers that have the king trait, and like you can't say you don't see these servants in farming. You can't say you don't see these servants in farming. These 4 in particular are like the training nodes, or you see them in events like all the time. Summonai, Altera 2, like you see these units when you're playing the game fairly often if you're fighting sabers. He gets free super effective damage, and I'm not gonna lie, her base damage, not the best. Where are you? Here, not the best, but I'm not denying that. But here, if she's fighting a king, suddenly she's with the AoE busters as an arts unit. Yeah, for like and it's not even just these sabers. Berserkers have its art king too. She has that berserker pen, so she does even more damage to them. Gets overkill even quicker. So I think she actually does more damage to berserker kings than saber kings. I think that's how the berserker modifier works. Like both would be taking 2 times damage. So yeah, berserkers usually have, no, in nodes they have more health. For us, we have less health berserkers, but for the enemy, they always have more health than another class. Because of that, they're supposed to take more damage. The biggest part about Zenobia, she ramps up crit damage. Why is this important? Because sometimes your MP is just not going to hit hard enough. She is an AoE. She is not supposed to be doing single target damage. But what she can do is clean up all the trash mobs and then crit whoever she's fighting, either on the last wave or on a challenge quest. And I can promise you, she crits very, very hard. Like, especially the arts crit. Remember, she's getting all the normal arts buffs that she gets from farming. Now she's getting crit buffs on top of it. This part of her kit doesn't care about what MP copy she is. So if you only get the 1 copy, you will be surprised how like easier it is to start clearing nodes. Her bond CE, 30% MP damage, nice. And I'm pretty sure how this CE works is that every time the guts procs, you get a 30% battery, but it's not saying her guts, it's saying a guts. I really should test this on my main JP, but it's kinda, that's not exactly the easiest thing to get something that can actually kill my Zenobia. Like, she's in an arts team. But yeah, like, even if this is only her own guts, even if this is only 1 time it works in a challenge quest, 30% gauge when the guts proc. That's like Nemo's battery, like how that is like a 30% battery, and then if the guts procs, he gets a 50. Wait, am I remembering that right? Oh, pretty sure that's how it works. I don't think it's 30 and 30. I'm pretty sure it's like 30 and then 50. Yep, no, 30 and 50. This is not worth it right now. Straight up, it's not worth it right now. But again, if you can slot in Black Rail and this CE, you suddenly have a very, very lethal Black Rail looper that can really do challenge quest stuff. I'm not going to touch about any of like the lore for Zenobia because I don't want to mess it up. And I'm if her character story is what I think it is, it's works with the narrative we've been getting with units like Charlotte and Mandricardo. That's the type of story Zenobia is kind of telling. I'm pretty sure I'm somewhat off of it, but it's got to do with like the disparity between a servant self and their living self. That's all I'm gonna say about on that matter, though. Zenobia is one of the most recommended 4 stars I can give for like most people, just because of ease of use. Getting good supports for Zenobia isn't hard. She's an art servant. If refund becomes an issue, Plug Suit, Fragments of 2004. You have Asclepius, Paracelsus, Castoria, Shufu when she comes out, and a litany of other servants that can probably give you some kind of buff to make Zenobia function better. I can name numerous off the top of my head. Caskill, Prince of Lang Ling, Helena, Charon. The list goes on. He's very flexible with what supports you can use. Even like the low stars are going to benefit her. Whatever you feel she's lacking, there's a good chance there's a support on your like in your account that can help Zenobia feel better. I will be summoning for Zenobia and Jacques Tiboulet tomorrow at so on Friday the 13th after work. I will be summoning for Jarcher, not Jarcher. I've been saying her name too often in this video. Jacques Tiboulet and Zenobia. I hope to get way more copies of Zenobia. The little prelude that came out was just to try to get it out of my system before Vendredi 3. So, hope you enjoyed this video. I will see you in the next one. Peace. Thank you for making it to the end of this video. If you enjoyed, drop a like or sub. Hope to see you in the next one. Peace.